And now, without further ado, I have the distinguished honor and privilege of presenting to you the Queen of Color, the Mother of Artists, globally acclaimed, award-winning master acrylic artist, and the star of our show, Ginger Cook, as she once again mesmerizes her audience with the daring do's and don'ts of painting with acrylic.
Hi, this is Ginger Cook, and this is my intro. I like to do an intro at the end of when I finish a painting. I like to come back and do an intro just in case I changed anything. And I want to tell you that this was the genesis of this painting is the idea that I would love for you to be able to really understand how to paint clouds in different ways. We're using something called zinc white, and you can also use mixing white. And someone's going to say, if you don't have that, I think you could use like a glazing medium and thin down a white. Maybe get something similar. You could try that. But clouds, if you like clouds, really, you want a zinc or mixing white. We have a lot of cloud paintings on YouTube, and this was, I like this because it's the Swiss Alps. This was actually done in the late 1800s by an American painter named Charles Curran. He was from Kentucky, but he went over to Europe. Obviously in those days he was an oil painter. We're just doing this on an 8x10 canvas so you can get the feel of it. His was actually about 18 by 22, so it wasn't that much larger, but still very pretty with the shadows on the mountain and these clouds and the mist coming up and this beautiful snow-capped peak. And still having snow clear in the summer with these glaciers and so forth. So this is a marvelous rendition of alpine painting. Kind of, as I said, I'll say a little bit later. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the kind of mountains that Bob Ross used to do. So I want you to enjoy this, and please enjoy painting the Swiss Alps and kind of have fun with this. With these clouds and everything. We're using, this is a full palette of paint. I've actually done 2 paintings with this palette of paint today. This is our standard palette: yellow oxide, cad gel, medium purple, ultramarine blue, phthalo blue, burnt umber, burnt sienna, cad red, medium magenta, and again mixing white or zinc white and titanium white. So those are colors. Enjoy it, you guys. And this is Ginger saying, subscribe to our channel if you haven't had a chance to subscribe to us. Also try out some of our other lessons on gingercooklive.gallery because we've got some great paintings, and check out our playlist on clouds on YouTube. Okay, hi you guys. I was really inspired to talk more about clouds and how to paint clouds and clouds at different levels in your painting. And I found this from one of our fun old dead artists. And I liked it very much. This was done in about 1902, and I forget the guy's name, but I'll probably put it in the credits when I bother to look it up again. Anyway, I like the mountain and the fact that we had these clouds coming over it. Now, I want you to notice something. This is, my pen is white, okay? See the white in the pen? The white in these mountains is not as white. This would be, say, titanium white, okay? So this cloud is not titanium white. This snow is not titanium white. Even these front clouds, which are whiter than these, are not quite titanium white. Do you see that? So you got to think about that, how we're going to be doing that. So what we're going to start first is we're going to paint the whole background dark purple. All right, and then we're going to dry it, and then we're going to sketch it on. This will be fun. I think you're going to be surprised how interestingly and different this is to paint something. And I love the idea of these low-flying clouds over these. Probably look like Swiss Alps, don't they? This was done in Europe. So let's take this out of the way, and we'll just take a fairly large brush, get this done fairly quickly. You could do a bright brush or this is a number 12 filbert, but you could do any of the squared off brushes too. I want it big enough. I'm going to take a little purple, a little magenta, and I'm just going to go ahead like this using kind of a big glob of paint. I want to fool around with this. I want to get right down into painting our picture. Like that, and you'll notice that my brush is damp, but I'm not going back into the water, but I am sort of scraping up extra paint and putting it over here like that. Now, if I run out of paint, what is the best thing to do? put out more paint. Don't get water, you see, to make it last a little longer. Just some of you are going to do that. Now, this has come up in question. What are our lessons like on gingercooklive.gallery? What is it like to take a lesson from us? And basically, all my lessons are, occasionally you'll see my face, but all my lessons are pretty much shot like this. Some of them are an hour, some of them are going up to 6 hours of lessons. And when you're a subscriber to gingercooklive.gallery, you start with the 1 cookies and you go on up to the box of cookie lessons. We take you all the way up the line with that, which I think is kind of nice. Now I'm running around going, I know I just put some purple out because I had it a little while ago. Okay. As I squeezed up all my paint. I've got a YouTube video on how to do that if you don't have one of these nifty squeezers. But I'm going to go ahead and put out more purple. And I just want to finish that. The reason I already had some paint out because I finished this really nice Renoir. Somebody had asked, gosh, Ginger, do you ever do any nudes? And I've been reluctant to do nudes. I certainly am not going to put any nudes on YouTube. I'm not comfortable doing that. But I will have them in we're going to start adding a few of the old dead art masters nudes on our website for people, and perhaps have them for sale as well for people that want to do that. And because you certainly have your choice. This is the one I just finished. I just wanted you to see that. Isn't that cool? And that's called The Bather by Renoir, done in just late 1900s. This is on a 9x12 canvas, and this is a lesson that will be on our gingercooklive.gallery website, and hopefully we'll have it ready for the second week in August. Is when it's been filmed, but then once I film something, John has to edit it. Now see this? See, I'm just kind of smoothing this all out so I don't have any high spots. Okay, like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to just stop and we're going to dry everything really, really well, and then we're going to sketch on the mountain. All right? Okay, so that's, I think that's working pretty well. So I know that, for instance, I'm going to have a valley that's going to come down about here, 2 fingers and starting down about 3 fingers, and it's just going to kind of come down here like that. And then I've got another little second kind of mountain right here. This is about, another 3 fingers up from that, about 4 fingers over, about 4 fingers up, something like that. And then we're going to start here, and we want to put our Alp mountain, little bumps here. It's going to come down maybe about 3 fingers up from this one. It's going to stop here. And if your mountain's a little different, this has been a long time ago. It's probably had avalanches, earthquakes. Who knows what's happened to this mountain? Might be different. We don't know. So all this is going to be sky. This is going to be mountain, and this is going to be our valley that's coming through like this in sort of rows of color, all right? So then you can kind of see what we're going for here, all right? Now, what I want to do first is put in the sky. So I'm going to take a rounded brush. Well, maybe not. Just maybe I'll take one of my, let's see, I think I'll take, this is a bright, a number 8 ruby satin silver brush, and I'm going to take some mixing white. The colors I have out on here are magenta, cad red, medium, burnt umber, burnt sienna, phthalo blue, ultramarine blue, Dazzling purple, cad yellow medium, yellow oxide, pretty much our old favorites. Take a little bit of this purple and put a little tiny bit of yellow with it, yellow oxide. That grays the purple. Why does yellow gray purple? Let's go back to our, one of the things we like to do is to help you understand why you do something. Because then even if you can't remember what I said, you'll remember why you do it, and then you can go look. Yellow is opposite purple on the color wheel, so that when you use it, when you add, let's put a little white with that. When you add it to purple, it will tone it down, it will gray it. Okay, so here we go. We've got this white. Now I think I want a tiny bit of ultramarine blue in that too, just a hair, like 1%. Just put a little bit, blue that up a little bit more, because purple is red and blue. So I want a little bit bluer, and I'm going to come over here like this, using the side of my brush, making little circles over a dried background. And I'm going to put in this purple. I think I want it a little bit bluer, a little more ultramarine blue with that, so it's not quite so purple. Let's just do that like that. There we go. Now, if I'm starting to lose paint, I'll just get more. My paint's dried out there, so I'm not going to play with that anymore. I'm going to come down here like this, and just sort of using the side of the brush, making little circles about the size of a dime. Just something small. Size of, say, your little thumbnail. Circle about that size. Okay, I'm going to come up here, like, look, now there's my sort of, now that's sort of my foggy mountain. I'm going to take a little bit of zinc white for this and lighten this side up just a hair. Now, this side was a little lighter. Using the flat of my brush now, and just sort of blend that in while it's still wet, like that. Now, what happened here? Oh, we started to pick up paint here, so this wasn't as dry as it could have been. So we're going to have to fix that. Put a little yellow. I'm going to have to fix this just a little bit here because we actually ended up erasing something. All right, here we go. So that's our, now I've got a light, there's a little light cloud right here, right in here. And if I just take the side of the brush with that lighter color, I can just barely touch it like this and wiggle and lift, wiggle and lift. I've got this funny little cloud that's kind of over here like that, over our mountain. All right, so that was pretty easy, yeah? Okay, so now what? So that brush is leaving now. We're not doing any more with that brush, like this is going in water. Now we're going to get an angle. This is a 3/8 inch angle brush. We're going to take some ultramarine blue and into that mixture right here. And I want to say that this is a little more ultramarine blue, a little bit darker, tiny bit of purple with it, just a bit. We come up here like this, and we're going to go over our mountain, and we're going to put our mountain in using this color, like that. And see, here's our mountain. I'm just going to allow the brush to just keep pulling down, kind of downward strokes. Remember, there's paint on both sides of your brush here. Okay. Get more paint. Now, I'm going to add a little magenta to this paint and darken it up just a hair. Ultramarine blue and magenta as I get down to this side. Maybe a touch of burnt umber. Brown this, oh, too much. Start again, new mixture. Okay, I want this, a little bit of purple now. Let's try some white in that. A little bit of titanium. A little more blue. A little titanium. There you go, see? Now, all right, good. A little more blue. Let's try some phthalo in that because that's not blue enough here. All right, there we go. Little phthalo was the trick to get that mixture color going. We come down here on this side of our mountain like this. A little more white with that. Lighten it up just a bit. Remember, acrylics dry darker, so sometimes when you put it on and you think it's the right color, it isn't quite, okay? So we're going to come down this way and start putting this color on down. And you'll notice every little bit of paint I mix, which is a little phthalo blue, white, a little tiny bit of burnt sienna, a little magenta, a little more white. Every time I mix a color, I want you to see that I do it often. In other words, I don't try to mix too much at one time. And if you have to, write down how you did it so you can do it again. Now I'm going to come up this way. This is our first mountain right here, like that. Kind of reminds me of the kind of stuff Bob Ross used to do too with these mountains, these beautiful blue mountains. And think that's a little bit more phthalo blue here. Want to just lighten this up. Well, that's not right. Try some ultramarine with it. Just brighten that up just a bit here. Got a little dark on me. Okay, so make sure that we've got this painted in here like this. Okay, and then he's got this little tiny mountain over here, which is kind of hidden, kind of over here like that. There's one sort of doing this, but okay. We'll put that one there because we're going to hide that in a minute. But that's our our little mountain right there. Now, the rest of this is, let's make a dark green color. So ultramarine blue and burnt umber and phthalo blue and a little yellow oxide maybe. Let's make this really, really dark green. Maybe a little purple in it, or yellow. Phthalo blue. Yeah, kind of a dark blue-green color, some more phthalo. And I want to come down like this over the purple, like that, with the brush strokes all kind of going down this way. The direction of your brush strokes really make a difference. We're saying these are angled mountain hills, so our brush strokes have to be going down like this, all right? I just think this is a really cool picture. I'm kind of excited about it. We're letting all that dry before we put the snow on it, okay? Now I'm going to come down here like this, and obviously there was something up in here too that almost had some more blue in it. It was even darker. This up here, this little hill up in here, this cliff thing. And then there was some little bit of burnt sienna and white. There was kind of a white cliff here that kind of we're doing that off the side. Just barely touch it. Ooh, that's scary, but there was our little cliff here. Just touch it while it's still wet if you need to. Just say, there's our cliff. Now notice I'm rinsing the brush. Now here's where it sort of changes a little bit. We're going to add more yellow to this mixture and some magenta and make this light green color. All right, magenta and cad yellow medium, and we're going to come down here like this. We're going to put in this lighter green color coming down this way. And what was interesting, what's happened with the clouds is they cause shadows in the on the bright green grass, and also of course there's trees and stuff. But there was these sort of shadow areas that are doing something like this. We're just going to do something like this area here. Make that all this all light green color, okay? And the clouds are actually causing shadows, which is sort of cool. All right, so then we've got, and you know, way up in here, right between these two mountains, right between these two mountains, there was a little bit of this light green. And a little bit up here too. Now, well, this is still wet. That's fine because we don't want it quite that bright. Right up here, there was a little touch of that. Okay, so up there. Now the rest of this is coming down. Now you'll notice I'm out of paint, so we're just going to make some more paint. A little bit of light green, a little bit of magenta. There we go. We're going to make some more of this color, and I want this a little bit darker, so I'm going to add a little brown to that. Maybe a touch of phthalo blue. I want this a little bit darker right in here, just as we go down. So it's all about blending greens, okay? Now brush strokes are all going down like this, okay? Off the edge. And then there was something back here. There was another one that came here. And make it a little bit not so perfect, you know, not just a complete line, kind of break up the top line there a little bit. It's a little bit of dark green right there, okay, or light green. And the rest of there might be something up here like that, but the rest of this is going to be either clouds or it's going to be something else that we've got going. Okay, and I'm going to lighten this up right here, maybe a little more yellow oxide with this. Going to take a little yellow, there we go, a little yellow oxide over the wet green and add a bit of that color, and the same thing here. Let's grab a little yellow oxide. Come up here like that, lighten up maybe a couple places like this. See, I'm going to just pinch the brush and just touch that, barely touch it, little yellow oxide maybe up into here. Just in a couple places, just barely touch it. And then how about up here too? We could dry it, but I just want to see, probably this was originally done with oils, so the acrylics didn't invented until the late 1960s, so or early 1960s rather, late 1950s. So we're going to have to kind of suggest some light here, like that, while it's still wet. Okay, maybe up here, just a touch. Okay, all right, so that's what we've got so far. Is this still wet? Well, it is. So I've been all into greens with this, so I'm going to get a different brush because I've been all in my dark greens, and I want to keep my green brush for greens. So I'm going to get out of, this is a 1/2-inch ruby satin silver brush. It's brand new. We're going to come down here on this, and it's still wet, so I'm going to just stop a minute and dry everything. This is as far as I can go, but I want you to see how I've just sort of roughed in these areas, all right? Like that. All right, so we're going to do that, and then we're going to dry. That's the secret. You got to just take some time to dry everything, all right? So I'm going to do that right now. Okay, so this is pretty dry. Now we're going to start with our little bit of our mixing white and a little bit of this blue color, just a slight bit of that blue color, and some mixing white. So it's not quite, sort of an off-white. And I want to, now here's the deal. The brush strokes are going straight down like this, and pulling them down, and leaving a little bit of this dark outline of the mountain showing up like that, and leaving some holes in here. And I think there was a peak like this that he put in. Let's just draw that in for you. There was a peak here like this. It was almost a separate mountain that's doing this. So we'll just put that in so we know it's there. Okay. I'm going to say that that's there like that. We're going to leave some of these darker areas. Come straight down from here like this, and it's almost using it at an angle because I want some of these dark streaks in here like that. And you know, if you lose a little bit, can you put some blue back? Sure. So let's get some more paint. So we kind of ran out. Come on up here with these peaks. Now these peaks up in here are pretty much white. Usually what happens with snow in mountains is there's a place where the sun's either setting, or see, this is a kind of a shadow side right here. So this is right here is like a cliff. Does that make sense? And so the sun is not getting to this side of the hill as easily. So there's more snow on it, and it's probably melting off that side. Does that make sense? So here's another side of a cliff here, not too even. And we're saying that this is the snow that's getting into here. All right, and now that we're sweeping up the brush strokes this way, and we're moving them that way, so get them on both sides of the brush. There you go, like that, and then pull everything that way. Okay, so your brush strokes are going to make a big difference on how this paints. Okay, and a little more mixing white here, coming straight down. I didn't tone it with anything yet. Okay, it's a little more jaggedy right here. I just kind of lost my jaggedy mountain here. There, okay. So I'm coming into this, and then I've got little patches of snow. See, this side is the sun's hit it, so there's obviously places where it hasn't melted, but this is what you're painting, and almost like little puzzle. I'll wet this brush and start again because I need it slightly damp. Little places where the rock is still hanging desperately onto the color, the white snow. Okay, and as we come down this way, we're going to take a tiny bit of phthalo blue and a little bit of white, titanium white, and a little bit of yellow with that. Make this sort of a soft color. There we go, like that, sort of a very soft blue color, and then add more white. I'm going to mix that bit over here so it's lighter, and we're going to come this way with these colors now. This is where this kind of a blue color, kind of icy blue color comes into the snow. It's coming down here like that. There's a little bit of that on this side too, right over here, like that. That'll warm up the blue. Now, that was the only place that was, okay? So if I take a little bit of raw burnt sienna, say, and add a little bit of off-white to this. Make this a little bit off-white. I can come up here on my snow. Let's take a little ultramarine blue in that too. I don't want this too white, okay? That's a bit white. I'm going to come up here like this and say we started off with the mixing white because I always start off with the least amount of color, and then we can always add more paint, you know? We started off with that. Now I'm going to come back in here like this, make sure I've pulled this down. These mountains. Okay, let's try a little bit more of the burnt umber in that. Just kind of, this is sort of our dirty snow color. Okay, like that. Just kind of come down into our mountain like this. And straight down here. Here like this. This is all too brown, so let's go back to the white. Take a little of this color like that. And just lay in the snow, and just rinse your brush. If you're getting a color you don't want, just stop and rinse it out like that. Okay, let's come down here like this. Now, come back here on this peak. And we've got a few little bits of light color coming down on the side here, like this. Kind of break this up. This little dark space up on this mountain. Go back into our mixing white, add to that. Come down over in here like this. You don't have to get this too perfect. I think you're going to get the idea of how this mountain goes pretty well. I think I want a little bit more ultramarine blue and magenta. I want to come up here like this and put some of my mountain back. I kind of lost it a bit here. Like that. I kind of lost a little bit of this. And it's not that dark up here, and I want to make sure I've got some blue coming down into my rock here. Put a little bit of this blue color back, because we lost a little bit of it. Here's a little bit of mixing white, kind of glaze over that. Okay, so we're just kind of suggesting snow here. The same thing here on the top of this little peak here, little mixing white, and just going to suggest that there's some snow, and then we're going to put this kind of turquoisey blue color here too, which is pretty, like that. Okay. Now a lot of this, you'll see if I rinse, I'm always reshaping the brush. I'm always doing this and reshaping. I'm going to come over here and just say that with the little mixing white, that this little mountain here, for sure I need it white next to this mountain right here. And I'll leave just a little bit of that blue showing there to suggest another mountain back there. And then what I've got is a little bit of mixing white. Now this is interesting. There's some clouds back here that are coming up like this into here around the edge of this mountain. Like that. And that's a little mixing white. It's just right up on this side. Remember, wherever there's a light, there's a dark. So sometimes you can do that. I didn't allow for as much sky as he has in his. That's okay. And then I'm going to come up here with a little mixing white and suggest more of this cloud like that up in here like this. A little bit brighter section of this cloud. Okay. So that looks very mysterious. And maybe I want a little mixing white and just sort of soften this purple just a bit right in here. Like that. Just a little bit. Just soften that. Get that foggy area over this sky a bit. There we go. Like that. There. Oh, nice. Over this mountain. You come right on up here to the top. You barely see the outline there of that mountain. You just barely see that peak. Oh, that's pretty. All right, I'm liking that, right? And then just break this up a section too here. Just sometimes just a few little dots of this and that. A little wisp of something. A little wisp over here. Now we got a big cloud coming here, so I can't worry too much about that. And I'm going to put some white, just some mixing white, over some of this, like this, just on top of this blue here. It's dried enough. We're just going to tone that back a little bit. There you go, like that. All right, so if that's what we've got there, okay, so do I feel like I've totally got this mountain right here? No. I need it a little bit lighter right here on this edge, even if I do some white here to titanium, a little bit lighter. See, now that's too white, you see? So that will never do. So let's tone that down just a hair, put a little brown with it. Okay, that is way too white. Okay, there you go. So can't have it that bright. Okay. So, now what? There's our mountain up there, and I still feel like I've lost a little bit of my peak thing here. So let's put a little bit of purple and white together, and blue, ultramarine blue. Just keep mixing the colors till I get one I want. Or ultramarine blue, there we go. And we'll come back up here with my mountain. I feel like I lost a little bit of this mountain up here. Okay, so that makes me happier. I can kind of look in the screen and see what I'm painting here. There we go. Okay, there's my mountain. So you can see the mountain. Now we're going to just stop and dry everything. So if I'm looking really close at my picture now, so I'm going to get really close and take a good look at this picture. All right, so now we're going to start adding a little bit of yellow, and cad red medium makes an orange color, a little bit of burnt sienna, like that. Now rinse the brush, wipe it off. Now we want some white in that, like this. Okay. Want this sort of off-white color. Now when you mix all the color, you mix a color like that, I'm just going to put this right down where I can see it. Now I'm going to pinch that off. I want to say that there's this little bit of this light coming here, just along here like that. So I'm kind of looking to see where else I've got it, just along this mountain edge right here like this. And I'm going to take a little bit of burnt umber and suggest that there might be a little bit of, you know, all mountains are not, they've got some color on them. Does that make sense? They're just, some is rock and so forth. They're just not green grass. So even though I see a little of that when I look at this picture, I see a little of that, just like I did over here. I see a little of this brown maybe coming up this way that it's going to peek through. A little bit of burnt sienna maybe, a bit darker. It's going to peek through. There's not a lot of that. Now we're going to go back and do the greens: yellow, phthalo blue, magenta. Here's a dark green, maybe some yellow oxide. Let's make this sort of Loden green color. Now the trick is when you're doing anything like this, you need to be able to wipe your brush off. And this is where a lot of you guys are not doing that. I can see it from the pictures when you either post them on Pinterest or you send them to me if you're getting personal art coaching. I can see the biggest thing I'm seeing is you guys are not doing that. So I'm just going to put a paper towel out here like this, put the paint on, and then I'll wipe it off. And then I'm going to come on here and I'm just going to see if that's not light enough, then I'm going to do it again. Now I'm going to just come over here like this and just using the flat of my brush, I'm going to kind of pull over this. I know I want a little more phthalo blue with this. Okay, and maybe a little white, a little phthalo blue. Going to mix these green colors, so this blue-green color. Let's see, a little more phthalo blue. I'm going to just pull that over this hill. This is this first color of paint we've got over here. We're going to drag it down here like this on this one. And I want it a little bit darker, so I'm going to add a little bit more burnt umber over a couple of this places and kind of darken that up. Because everything's layers. There's nothing that's ever one color. There's a little bit of this lighter color. It's just some mixing white in that. Tap it off, and then right here on this part of the mountain, right on this one, there's some sort of little light green something right there. And I'm not sure why. And then here we've got a little bit of this sort of lighter green color right here. Okay, so as we add these colors, and then down in here, just across here at the bottom, remember I told you there's the clouds, we're going to shade some of this. We've got this more of this blue-green shadow coming down here on this one. And then I think we did pretty well with some of these, okay? So if we were to just take some more of this green and yellow oxide color, and say we want to lighten this up, let's maybe make some mixing white and lighten this up. Wipe off the, mix the paint, wipe it off. Okay, that's not enough. So I'm out of yellow oxide, so I'm not getting the mix. I'm going to put out more colors. It's a great lesson in greens. All right, great lesson. Besides class, great lesson in mixing greens. You see I'm tapping that off right there. I'm going to come over the top of that, straight with a little bit more yellow oxide. I think I'll rinse the brush because it's catching the wrong color. I don't want that, so a little more yellow oxide, tap it off. Put it on your brush, wipe it off. Okay, so that's better. If you're not getting the color, try rinsing your brush. Okay, we're going to just wipe off the excess paint, drag that on over here, kind of make these sort of light and dark areas on our hill, coming down over here like that. This will be, if you get these yellows right, okay, if you get these yellows right, you will be much happier with the outcome of the picture. Let's just come this way with those. You even can take some paint off the paper towel. If that's not right, I'll take it a little bit off of here too. Kind of break up the shadow. Okay, what about over here? Are we pretty good? All right, we're pretty good. Now here's the thing. I'm going to rinse the brush. If you've been into light paint, you must rinse the brush if you're going back into dark. I'm going to make a really dark green color, and I'm going to stay right like this using the corner of my brush. I'm going to say that there's some pine trees here, just like that. See, I'm going to say this is our pine trees. Just, kind of uneven, not a picket fence, right? Now I'm going to add a little more brown to that. And so we're going to say we've got some pine trees this way. So we're just going to sort of suggest that by using your brush, just the corner of it, dot in these little trees like this, like that. Just suggest some trees. The same thing here. We're going to suggest this whole area in here that we kind of left out, right, is actually going to be pine trees. I'm not going to do as many as he did, but because I think this painting can stand alone without all of these. We're going to say there's some more pine trees right here, in this area, like that. And then he had some, let's put a little bit of white with that, with the blue. He had some lighter pine trees. No, that's not good. Let's make these darker. Okay, some lighter ones. Nope. More blue, that's kind of a warm green. We want a blue green, more phthalo. We're going to say that he had some lighter pine trees coming this way, up here like that. And they're a little bit more blue-gray, but a little bit lighter shades of color, like that. And as I come over here, I think I want to just indicate that that's what these are. And then even up in here, get some more dark green. I can come up here like that and break up this color that we did, and I'm all out of blue. So if you run out of paint, and then you can't do much, all right? Does that make sense? So you've got to put out, this is our phthalo, that was out of blue, and this was my ultramarine blue, and I was out of that too. So I'm not making anything if I don't put the paint out. See, people paint the stupidest little tiny bits of paint they put out, and then they can't mix the colors, or they tell me their paint's drying out. You've got to put enough paint out for this to work. If you're worried about it, use a stay wet palette or something like that. That'll save your paint so that you don't waste any. But we're going to come up here like that. So here's this darker blue for the pine trees right in here like that. And, do we want to come up here with a little brush and, add a few little details? I mean, you're more than welcome to look this painting up too, but I think we're pretty good here. We've got something here. We're going to put some dark green right in here, kind of break this up right here. Like here's some dark green trees. We're going to say there's another row of those right here like that. I'll break that up right there. Maybe coming down this far with these. Like that. How about down in here? Oh yeah, there was something down in here too for sure. There was some sort of, I don't know if this is the end of the valley or what happened, but there's something here at the end here that just sort of falls off into this. That's kind of cool, and it's very dark right here. Very dark right here. Okay, so that's our, that's kind of our valley here where we're going to have a big cloud in here. So that's kind of what we had to have at least that much for the contrast of our cloud. See, this cloud's going to come all the way through here, all right? So let's go back into our yellow oxide and just wipe that brush off. Start again, tap it off. And I want to just make sure I have this light enough in here like this, across the top of this. I think I had some water drip right there. That's not good. A little bit more like that. I'm going to come back here, right back in here. It needs to be lighter. See that? I'm going to lighten this up right like that. Bring that down, a little bit of, I almost want to see some orange in here. That he doesn't have that much, but we're going to make a little orange color and just, he's got a little right down in here, but we would not be, I'm just saying there might be some in here like that. And for sure over here on this mountain where it's more of a cliff area. And well, this is all pasture. He said that all this was pasture land. So we can lighten this green up a little bit of mixing white into the yellow oxide. Wipe off, tap it off. All right, I want to say this is a little lighter right here. We come up here like this. Just bring that back. All this stuff is about lights and darks. That's what makes a painting really pretty. You can see where some of that orange color is kind of on my brush now, which I think is pretty on the grass. But all of that is about lights and darks and getting just the right amount of paint. Ooh, there's a big glob of paint there we're getting off. How about just letting this peek through in here like that? Okay, so now what can we do? Well, we know we want something a little bit lighter up here. Kind of like this, a little bit outer. There we go, like that. I'd say that that's pretty good. At this point, we could work a little more on our cloud. our mountain. Okay, I could work a little bit more on this while this other stuff's drying, and then we'll go ahead and put some clouds. So let's see. We're still in our kind of off-white blue color, and we're saying that there's some snow up here like this, kind of coming this way. So our brush strokes kind of coming down. So it's coming down this way. Some good peaks going up here like this. Okay, and then what about over here? Just something about like that. Okay, just kind of playing with this. I know that there's some, maybe put a little magenta in the white. Warm this up. No, a little bit of blue. Want it more purpley white. Okay, let's try that over here like that. There you go. Put that this way. It's almost almost a purpley white, this color. It's interesting how you can see the colors when I look at this. I need to turn that iPad on again, John. Can you change how long it stays on for me? So I want to make sure I've got all the colors going here. A little brown right there. Take that off. Thank you. I know that we've seen a lot of people watching our videos on using a Fire Stick TV on Amazon on TV if you're on YouTube, and also you can use it if you've got an Apple phone. Apple's got some sticks you can use too, which are kind of cool. I'm just going to go ahead and I just want to look at this painting on my iPad because I want to can you see it? I want to be able to blow it up and really see what I'm seeing, really see what I'm looking at, okay? So when I see that, I really can see how I have to break it up a bit. All right, that helps me. Sometimes that iPad is so handy because you can just break it up, really see what you're doing, which is extremely helpful. I mean, it's nice to blow a picture up like this too. You see, I've got all this blue right here. I'm just going to take some mixing white now, or zinc white, and just tone that down a bit so it's not so bright. There we go. So there's some shadow, but not so much. And the zinc white or mixing white, it's very translucent color, so it's good. Okay, and then I want this edge here to be very, very, this dark blue-green edge, I want this to be very strong edge right here. Just no question about it that that's our strong edge right there. That's coming in front of this mountain right here. Okay? All right, so there we go. So we're going to go ahead and let's see, let's come down a little bit more with some color. Wow, it's so easy to just get too much color really fast. Let's see, something about more like this. I want to come down into my mountain here. Way too much. Let's take some white. Start over here. Okay, here we go. I want to come down into here with the snow. Okay, like that. Say that there's snow. And let's see, do I need to put some blue back? I think I need to put some blue back. So we're going to come in here like this. Bring some blue up that way. Break my blue back up here. Bring this down like this, and I want a little bit more magenta blue and white and purple. Get that color back that I had on that background color. All right, let's start that in here like this. So one of the things you can do is you can go back and if you've lost, your little mountain or whatever you've lost, you can put it back. Let's make that just a peak here. Okay, and you can go back and you can put a little blue back if you got too much white. If you don't have enough white, you can put that back too. You're not really poke another hole in this if you need to suggest that there's some of this mountain showing through. Okay. All right, so I'm thinking I'm liking that mountain pretty much. Okay, I'm thinking I do like that. I think I want a little bit of white right here, a little mixing white. Here we go. Okay, so sometimes you don't always get it with the first stroke. Don't worry about it. You're going to get it the next time. All right, let's take a little bit of. Remember I said we had some mixing white right here and it wasn't bright enough? I'm going to put that right back in here like that. There you go. So we want the peak to show up. That's the key. We want all of this to show up. All right, now we're going to dry this and then we're going to put our clouds in. Wow, it's interesting. I keep missing the brushes. I keep missing the water bucket. All right, I want an old scraggly brush for this, something I can scrub with. And this is a new brush, but I think I can scrub with it. This is called a Silver Cambridge Bright. This was one of Cinnamon's brushes she found. And what I like about it is that it's a bristle brush that doesn't go soft when you get it wet. But basically, I want to come through here like this. I'm got the main body of my clouds is sort of coming through off of there like this, and then coming back into here. I want you to think, instead of clouds, I want you to think of water vapor. All right, so that's basically kind of where I'm coming through. And I'm going to take this bristle brush and mixing white and wipe it off on a clean paper towel like this. I use the side of it. And I'm going to just start making little circular motions, barely touch it up here like this. And I'm going to suggest this is water mist. This is our first layer of clouds. We're using transparent white because, now look, we don't want a solid layer here. If you put a solid layer in here, it's going to look like heck. So, I mean, just got to tell you like now, you've got to sort of have an idea of where you're going to go, and then you barely want to touch it. You may have to switch brushes. You may have another brush that you like better. But this is, make sure this is good and dry, okay? Because it's going to pick up the colors underneath. Does that make sense? You can see a little bit of the purple in this cloud, and this actually cloud was done in layers. So I'm going to just say that this is coming in here like this. And I can dry in between layers if I get too much. Like for instance, if I want to say that there's a little bit of this cloud coming up this way, I'll barely touch it and bring it up like this, and just using the corner of the brush. Coming down in here, the same thing up here. There's some of this cloud that's right up here on this mountain, like that. And it might have been better to use a smaller brush, but right up here on this mountain like that, kind of like that, over that one. And it crosses over the front of this. Do you see that? In other words, this peak has got a cloud coming this way on it, and it's crossing over this way, okay? So we don't really see this peak that much, and we're just going to put a little like that. So the peak's there, but we're not seeing it. And the same thing with this, like with this one, I'm just going to hold the picture so I can see it. The same thing here, like that. We're coming this way with this cloud, and it's coming this way, kind of around our mountain here, like that, over the top of that. Again, you've got to be very dry to do this. This is our zinc white, transparent mixing white. And we're going to come up like this using just the corner of the brush. Barely touch it. We want it sort of light around here so that shows up. And we're going to say that these clouds are coming across here like that. Like this, coming across like this. And then they're coming that, sort of that way. And they come in layers. So at this point, what I have to do is, if I'm happy with this is dried a little bit. Okay, happy with this, I've got to barely touch this and just come down here like this, barely touch it, and just use, let's change brushes for a minute. I like this. And the thing is, I think that it's going to be, here's a smaller one. Let's try this smaller one. I think it's too big. Let's try a smaller one. All right, so this is a Bristol-on, silver Bristol-on. And we're going to try that just with our corner, because I want to be able to take a corner of the brush and barely suggest this bits of clouds coming down into here like that. The Bristol-on's a little softer. It's not so scratchy. So it's allowing me to do that. Here we go, tap, tap, tap. I don't want any green on these clouds. If you're starting to get green, dries everything. Okay. Now, all right, you see how we're doing that? And then we're saying that there was right down into here in this area right here. Here, let's just put some white on here like that and wipe it off. Let's come along here like that and say that there was this cloud. You want the edges to be very, very bumpy and thin edges, really thin. It's got to be very, very thin, like that, and wispy. We're going for wispy here, you guys. Wispy. All right, so we're going right over here like that, little circles, using just the corner, connecting this cloud to that one, connecting this up here like that. All right, so you see, ooh, isn't that pretty? Now there was something that came up the top this way too, so here's a little paint. Came up here, kind of broken up this. And this came up here like that, and connected back down into here, which was a little, this cloud's pretty big in here. This was actually a bigger cloud than I've made it so far, just haven't made it as big as it actually is. We're saying it comes way back up into here, like that. and just sneaks around up into here like this. Okay, sweeping across, and it's sweeping across behind here. Now here's the trick. It is sweeping across here like this, and this is a solid line where it's behind this mountain. And if you have to put the green back to do it, that's okay, but it's sweeping up like that, okay? So it's crossing over there, crossing up here a little bit. We don't see where it is. We don't see too much of this side of the hill like that. And it's coming down over this hill like that. And this was fun, I bet, to paint. Probably painted this on location. How pretty is this? Okay. Coming down into this area in here. Now I've got a bunch of clouds right in here too. So there's some clouds that are coming off of this side and just sneaking around in here, because we must be really high up in the mountains for this to happen. We've got some clouds on this lower part. And then you'll notice I keep getting new paint. I'm going to say that here's a little cloud right here. Got the mixing white, okay. A little bit more, and I'm going to say that I've got some clouds going this way off of here, so we're not talking too much about that one. Remember, you want these snake-like and wispy. So it's very, very thin, and that's how you get that effect with mixing white. Like that, you want it very, very wispy. And it's not like a line of clouds here. You're just sort of sneaking up here from the bottom, like that. Now, let's see, we had something that was right here, just a little cloud that was all by itself, right? In here, like that, okay? It was there, and take a little bit more of this mixing white and say that there was maybe something right here, too, that was a little lighter. Okay, and these clouds are coming over the top of this. Just barely see it, okay? Over the top of this mountain. Very light in here too. This was I'm just gonna barely touch that. Just suggest that's light right there. This is not real dark. Okay, and the same thing here. This is all very light. Very, very light in here, okay? Now what I want to do is, I'm pretty happy with this, but what I want to do is dry it and then add the second layer of clouds. Put that brush right there, I'm going to dry it. And then we're going to do layer 2. So what we're saying happened in here is that this is a second layer of mixing white, and these clouds here are in front of those. Okay, we're just using the side of our brush, and we're just going to say some of these are more opaque. Even if I take a tiny bit of titanium with it, there you go, maybe a teeny bit of titanium with it, and saying that these clouds here are a little stronger than those. Just in a couple places, more toward in the middle, so that the wispy edges are always on the outside. That's what you want, wispy edges on the outside, so that the most transparent part of your cloud, I guess would be, I'd tell you, it's on the outside, so it's a little bit more opaque here in the middle, like that. Let's move that out of the way. Wow, this could have done without that. All right. Okay, like that. Same thing here, tap it off. There is a second layer, sort of almost half mixing white, half titanium now. I'm going to tap in some more opaque clouds in the center, like this. And I might even put a little bit of purple with some white. Now this is interesting, a tiny bit of yellow with it so it's toned down, right? Wipe that off. there we actually have, wipe this off like that, I actually have a little shadow underneath here in these, where it's a little purpler in here like that, but it's very thin. Okay, very, very thin shadow down in here of the clouds. The mixing white will cause some automatic shadows, but if we don't have quite enough, this closer up clouds in here, we could have a few little shadows. So the same thing up in here, a little bit of purple. Just say that this is kind of catching this like that, and then we'll put a little mixing white over it. Tap it up like that. Okay. So to put this across. Now you see why it was so important to get these light enough so that they can compete, these bright green streaks, so they can compete with these clouds. So like even down in here it's a little dark. I'm going to have to brighten those up in a minute. But right now we're just working on these. Sometimes it's just a dot of cloud like that, just a dot too, and they don't connect, okay? And you know, clouds change every few seconds, so your clouds are a little different than these. I want you to understand how you might do these. It's not so important that we get this precisely exactly right, but that's phthalo. I want titanium. I want ultramarine blue. There we go. I want some ultramarine blue and white. Like that, and then wipe it all off. Here we go. I want a little bit more blue over in here to suggest some blue clouds. And we could have a little of that purple color too in these clouds in here in the shadow part. Okay, and they're coming down into this area. There's just a little more shadow underneath them. Okay. A little bit even here too, a little bit of shadow underneath these like this. Too much paint. If you get too much paint on these, they'll be too fat. These are so thin, I can't say that enough. Really, really thin. Really, really thin. So if you have to erase some, like for instance, I got that too much, so I'll take some water and I'll lift some of that up. Rinse, wipe, swipe, and just mop a little of that up. It's too much cloud there. Ooh, that works. So if you get too much, just erase a little bit. Because the whole idea behind this picture was to do these wispy clouds. You know, wispy clouds, and there's wispy clouds on the mountain here like this that are coming across like this. You know, part of it's snow and part of it's clouds, and it's very interesting. Where's the snowbanks, and what part of this is clouds that are coming up here on our mountain too? We don't, you know, they coming across here. Is this our cliff up here like that, with our nice mountain ridge like this on this side? Remember I told you that was sort of a cliff and spidered down into this. So then maybe I have to come back, and I'm always looking at things. You'll see me change subjects all the time, because the minute I see something that's not quite right, I want to go back and fix it when I remember to fix it, see? Right when I remember that this has to be darker blue up here, or blue-purple color, this mountain color up in here, because that had to be a cliff, and this is a cliff right here on our, you know, so I have to go back and put some blue back. I will. You know, so again, if you kind of overdid it, you can put your mountain back just a hair. Just a little bit of purple and ultramarine blue, a little bit of burnt umber, a little bit of magenta, a little bit of white. Make that dark blue color that we had. I don't want it too turquoisey, okay? Change that color. Okay, and the same thing here. Did I lose this mountain here? I don't want to lose it. So there you go. Don't want to lose this here. This was sort of very bumpy. Did I lose that little bit right there? Maybe. It's going to be a little wider than I just did. Okay. So again, do I need a little blue under here? like that under the mountain. Where do we need the color? Bring this down in here like that. Kind of lighten this up. All right, so I'm liking all this for our mountain. I feel like we lost this edge of it right here like that, so I'm going to put this one back. Okay, and that side back, and then I had, this was kind of doing this. So put that, kind of fix those little holes that were here. All right, so there's our big mountaintop, and that's kind of cool. I still got a little bit of blue way up in the top of this. Okay, at the top of that mountain peak. And I'm happy with the blue here, but let's just see here, just a little bit of a shadow, shadow color on our clouds. Coming here, almost a little blue shadow color, just a touch of this on the clouds, like this. There we go. Just the slightest bit, particularly coming through our mountain like this. Where's the mountain? Where's the clouds? That kind of thing. Ooh, pretty. Okay, so that's pretty much what I want to do here. I might come back with some titanium white. Again, let's open this up now. Turn it over. I need a clean space to wipe. Okay. Need a clean space to wipe, and I'm going to take some titanium white. Wipe that off, and I'm going to say that there's some little tiny bits of cloud, just barely touch it inside this vapor stuff, so that this is a little bit less translucent, like that, and I tap that in there using the corner of the brush. Okay, this is our next layer of clouds that's tapped in here, and I can tell you what, you think this is all layers, and if you're not got to dry between the layers, and the clouds are always really thin and water vapory on the outside. That's what I would tell you. Just if you're having trouble with that, you might even consider using a glazing medium to thin out your paint. If you're having trouble. Someone said, if I didn't have mixing white, what could I use? I think you could probably use glazing medium, now that I think about it, and sort of thin out paint if you needed to. So this is kind of lighter down in here, but notice I'm not going all the way out to the edges of how thin everything got. And then he's got, oh my goodness, he's got some clouds coming up from the bottom like this. How funny. I wonder if he just put his finger there and forgot, but he's got them coming up from the bottom. Now what I want to do is I want to take some yellow and a mixing white and yellow oxide, and I want to make sure I have some of this area light up here. I want this lighter. Couple places up here like this. My green, you see what I'm doing here? See how I'm lightening up just in a few places our grass. Here our fields, maybe peeking through here too. Remember, these clouds, what they're doing is they're causing all kinds of shadows on this green. That's what makes it so interesting, causing all kinds of that kind of stuff. And then maybe up this way, bring it back. Something kind of peeked out the end of this, on this end of this cloud. There we go. Just want to make sure we have these light highlights where we need them. And that, you guys, I think is our picture. I feel pretty good about that. That's our mountainscape with clouds, painting clouds. And you can see where we've got, we've got our pine trees. What I want to do first, I'm going to turn this upside down like that. I'm going to turn my picture upside down. And then I'm going to start looking to see if there's anything I want to do differently. Just by doing that. Let's see, I might put this right here so I can see it. Maybe I'll just put it in front of me like that. So to turn it upside down. And now I'm looking for patterns, all right? I'm looking for patterns of light and dark. I think my sky's a little too dark. So I'm going to take some mixing white, right like this. And I'm going to come up in here like this, and I'm going to suggest more clouds coming down this way into here like that. And maybe over into here, maybe just above this, I want a little bit lighter. Just see like that, just something a little bit lighter, going off into the purple. So I'll take a little bit of purple and make that light purple sky color again. You can always redo your sky. I mean, people are saying, can I do my sky again? Sure, you can do it. You don't have to, but it doesn't hurt to do it again, as long as you know what I mean? I just felt like I got this too light, or too dark rather, and I'm going to just try to see if I can't get a color I like better. Magenta with that, a little bit of ultramarine blue with that, and then I want it. Let's see, how am I doing with that? Yeah, just something, I just didn't like this, the sky just seemed a little dark to me. So I'm just going to lighten it up a little bit. Just sort of scrub that out. Okay, just lighten the sky up just a hair. You know, one thing you can do is really dry your painting and then do something like this. So if you don't like it, you can wash it off. Do it the next day or something. Make sure it's been really dry. But I just want to say that I wanted to lighten this up just a bit. It just felt a little too dark. Then I'm going to take a little titanium like this and suggest some white clouds right here. Maybe something in here with that. And then a little bit of a lighter cloud right in here like this. It's coming up this way, and I'm just doing the whole thing upside down. Okay, and the same thing here with the top of the mountains. I'm going to come up this way and just sure I have these light enough. So when this is, again, these are just some small things. This is more of the turquoisey blue color in the off-white coming up here for our mountain ridge. But I want to make sure I have this the way I want it. Okay. So when I did this, did I break this up enough sideways? Like that. Did I come down here and break this sideways up? How about in here? Did this get broken up enough here with clouds? Did I break this up enough like that? Come back up here with my pattern and look. Okay, so let's turn it around. Oh yeah, I'm thinking I'm liking that a little better. I think that looks that's fun. And yeah, fun. Looks like a fun place to visit, doesn't it? Just a little bit of this kind of magenta color. Want a little tiny bit of magenta around these clouds up in here like this. Now I'm just looking at things I could do. Just seemed like there was a little of that on this mountain. And then I want to come back here with the dark green color. Really, really dark green color. And come back up here with this mountain like this and darken this right there. Felt like I didn't get this quite dark enough right here. Contrast between the top of this mountain, see, in here, and the same thing in here. I need this to be a little bit darker, so it's got to be a dark green, phthalo blue, yellow, and maybe some cad red medium. I need this to be a darker green right in here, and it's a little bit darker right in here like that. Just, I want this to dark enough so that these clouds show up, right? Okay, so these are some of the things you can do. Just kind of go back and say, do I have enough of a dark area? Do I need to poke a hole in this cloud? Just come back in here like that, poke a hole in it. You sure can. That's the point. You can. You can come back and if you got carried away and just kind of, overdid your cloud or overdid some of it, you can certainly come back. And we're going to say that right underneath here, I want it dark. I'm going to say I want it dark right there under this cloud to indicate it might be causing a shadow. And the same thing here. I want to make sure I have this dark coming down this way into my. I need contrast. That's what I'm that's where I'm missing it. Need to put some contrast. There we go. Much better. And like I say, I'm not putting every little tree in, but I put enough contrast in where you can really see the picture. All right, so that's pretty much how you would do clouds like this. A lot of different ways to do it. I love the sort of purpley blue sky. I think that that's really cool. I think that's really cool looking. As I turn around and talk to you about this, I can see where I might want to, again, this mountain here needs to come up a little bit, like that. A little more Swiss Alps looking. Okay. Same thing here. I need to break this up with a little bit of blue. Just break that up. It's a little blue-purple color. Do you have to go back and, put more mountain in? Do you need to add more to your sky? Just how's this right here? This one is kind of, I'll make sure I have that one kind of separated. Okay. So far, so good. I guess I'm through playing. I'm just going to go ahead and sign it. Hope you enjoyed painting this. And remember that this is, if you like this type of lesson where it's just you and me talking, and it's like I'm explaining stuff specifically to you, this is how all our lessons are in gingercooklive.gallery. We have over 300 lessons, starting from the very beginning lessons to the more advanced lessons. And if you've signed up for a week and you kind of like what we're doing, you can try us for a week and see if that kind of works for you. You're more than welcome to do that. And if you want to do that, you can see me just kind of playing with this as I go here, like that. The monthly at $26 a month, $26.95 a month. If you're not a senior, it's $21.95 right now. So 2017 prices. Not only do you get personal art coaching when you sign up for a month, or if you sign up for a year, you save 2 months are free. If you sign up for both our Wave and Water Masterclass and our video lesson library, you're almost getting 3 months free. That's like probably the very best value we've got. But we made a point to give special pricing to our friends in Australia and Canada who are, having a little bit more difficulty with the exchange rate for the U.S. dollar. And while that continues, we've been giving you guys special breaks. Be sure to look for your page for that. Again, we have senior discounts, and I think this is the kind of thing where if you really want to get far with your art, if you're really trying to get far with with your painting, as you see here as I keep playing, as I'm doing this, talking to you, right? I keep adding. I'm looking at this, talking to you, saying you want to keep going and really get the fastest, be on the fast track. And someone asked us, can you sell the paintings? Yes, we'd love it if you want to sell the paintings. We ask that you don't make prints, but you can certainly sell the paintings, and we'd love you to be able to, recoup some of your funds so that you can keep painting. That would be great. So hope you've enjoyed this, and we will tell you that we're live every Tuesday and Monday night. Generally, sometimes John and I, about every 3 months, will go on vacation and we'll just put up recorded lessons. But normally we're live, and we really appreciate your feedback. Come join us live, chat, ask questions, and we'll get to know one another even better. So this is Ginger saying have a wonderful day. Art blessings from Texas.